There's Alex. I'm at the Tram Club kitchen at the end of the day here, and I just wanted to do a follow-up from this morning's how to clean a kitchen, because where I found it, I just showed it not clean. So I'm going to go ahead and turn around and show some of the clean things and the basic sanitary, how we leave the kitchen. So I'm going to turn the screen around here. All right. So as we can see, we have nicely polished, and there's drip marks. We can get that to disappear, but this is like acceptable. All right, there's a little bit of grime left here. You can see a teeny bit, right? But compared to what it was, and I didn't clean this. I had two other people cleaning in here at my direction, but I didn't overly supervise it. So this kind of grime right here, we're working on getting. This is old buildup, but we don't have all the smegma that we had, right? All the schmegma that we had on these surfaces. The inside of the door, right? This is the fingerprints from them with wet hands after they opened and closed and cleaned everything, right? So, these are the ties on our line. Our line's all clean. One of the trick ones that people miss quite a bit is getting up underneath in here and back there. And so that actually got missed today. I'm going to go ahead and wipe that just now. What else? We went ahead and got some oven easy off on this surface here. So all the grime that we had built up on this from not just our work, but 20 years of this kitchen, that's cleaned off, right? So I still have more work I want to do on the inside. But again, we're moving progressively cleaner every time and not leaving more grime. This stuff was all grime coated, a lot less now, right? We've got the inside of our handles are clean, right? So this guy's wiped down, but the fryer was hardly used in the last 2 days compared to like the day before. It was used 4 times as much. So at some point, you don't have to really do the fryer all the time. Again, I'm working on getting the grease buildup off of here slowly. But this was all totally coated before when I first came in. This was all coated before when I first came in. Not just yesterday, but a month ago. But again, cleaning the side surfaces, we put our hands when I've removed all the gunk, or started to. It's still built up, but we're slowly scraping this shit off, right? Anyhow, I can't do it all at once. So floor's nicely mopped, right? I've walked on it again some, but our surfaces are clean. Look at that. We have clean. Oh, there's steam tray. Clean steam tray, right? Sanitary surfaces above and below, walls, door handles. Do this. This door has been cleaned nicely, right? All the surfaces we touch get nicely cleaned off, and so that's like the basics of sanitizing things. Again, everything's topped up, or like we don't have tons of the mustard, so we just leave that in the same bin, or swap the bin, clean the bin, sealed up, ready to go. What else? We got kitchen semi-stock, or freezer. This one here stocked with all the things that go over here, and this guy's stocked. But you know, we've pulled out behind, everything gets pulled out, swept, mopped, everything's on wheels. Can we do that? We get down on our knees, we look underneath, make sure everything's swept down underneath from there, right? We don't got curds or french fries. Always clean this stuff here. Sorry. Detail work, slow. When you got time, constantly working on those corners. And again, this place was a shithole, but it wasn't as bad as the last place I worked. And that's something I want to emphasize. Every restaurant I've worked in, except for the boat, and every restaurant I've worked in, except for the boat that I went to work on, was disgusting when I got there. And people just tend to like not put the effort in. I don't know if it's like one of the things I heard at the last place I worked at. Like I showed up, it was dirty. They were there for 2 months. And I spent 4 hours cleaning the very first day I was there. That's the first thing I did before I did anything. My first shift, I cleaned for 4 hours the surfaces, because it was fucking disgusting. And then I insisted they give me a full day to clean, but they didn't give me a full day. I got 6 hours, and I had a couple days off, and then the inspector came through, and they failed, and they blamed me. And it's like, how? And it turns out it was like the sections in front of the kids who've been working there the whole time, who they never cleaned the shit that was right in front of them. They didn't clean it after the inspection. And I actually found a dead mouse 2 feet away from where the kids have been standing for 2 months all day long without doing a fucking thing. It's just the craziest shit. So it's like, how do I emphasize the golden rule in working? It doesn't matter where you're working. It's not the kitchen. It's firefighting. Firefighting's a great example I like to use. If you hurry up and go through to get the job done, you didn't actually do it if it wasn't done right the first time, right? And in firefighting, that leaves people to where they can actually die because you were in a hurry, right? It's a lot less extreme in the kitchen. We're talking about illness, food poisoning. People can die from dysentery, food poisoning. I've had some extremely violent food poisoning myself when I was a firefighter. Everyone thought I had gone out and got on a bender and drank too much booze, but it was bad chicken. And it made me violently sick for the 2 days we had off out of 60 days. And I was in hell for the next 4 days, right? So there's real consequences to not having proper etiquette and protocols in our kitchens. And then one of the basic tenets, it doesn't matter what business you're in, you put your tools away clean and sharp, right? I like the analogy of the fire engine. You work hard on keeping it clean when you have the time. You never put wax on the whole fire engine because you're always going to get called out on a rush and have half your engine covered with wax. What's up, Arch and Ryan? Thanks for joining, chatting up. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in, right? The basics, working with other people, is the golden rule. It's the same thread that runs through every religion. And if you can't handle the golden rule, you're just not a good human being. And anyone who thinks they're a good human being should apply. I pulled 12-hour day today, Ryan. Thanks for asking, and chat asking if I have a long shift. And partly we had new people closing again. And so I did a 12-hour day today here in the kitchen. I showed up, planned to come early and check out after and ski a little bit, but we were short-staffed and new people closing. So I went ahead and took the time to train and make these videos also to teach other people how just the basics. 12 hours is a long day. I used to do it firefighting 16 to 20 hours every day, right? So truly, it's not that hard. But then everyone has a different continence and everyone has a different position in life and a different perspective of reality. And if I had only slept 4 hours last night, I'd be really hurting right now. But I got a really awesome, great night's sleep last night. But again, the golden rule: how do you want to find your kitchen in the morning yourself, right? Leave it sterile and ready to work. That's ultimately everything should be just ready to go. Boom. Yeah, please do email me about whatever questions you got. If you got my email, if you don't, put questions in the comments, and that can be about kitchen stuff. We'll take care of them and or direct. Leave a good product for the next guy. Yeah. There's no point in doing things that. My high school gym had a placard over the door as we entered, and I read that every day. And this is kind of with like everything I do. And I'm going to talk a little story about working with the inmates before I shut this little video down. But commitment to excellence, right? Over one of the doors to the fire station, it said, "No whiners, no wimps, no slack." Right? Man up and do the job you're hired to do. If you can't do the job, you don't want to do the job, you don't want to present the finished product the same way you want to walk into it, maybe you should be somewhere else doing something else, right? But taking advantage of other people who have a good work ethic isn't necessarily. And that brings me to having ran the inmate fire crew, and like these are some of they were what people call the dregs of the earth, right? These guys were felons, and some of them did some horrible things. And I never asked any of them what their crime was, what they were in for, because I didn't want to know. It didn't matter to me because they were working for me as my firefighters. That's what they were to me. And if they volunteered that information, that's on a whole nother thing. But I let them know that my little brother was almost killed by methamphetamine issues. And if they told me about that, I wouldn't like them because I have a prejudice against that kind of thing. In all seriousness, I people change and all of that, but I had I was very bigoted against meth production and sales. Anyhow, I treated them like good human beings. I taught them how to work hard. I taught them work ethic. I taught them respect and self-respect, and I taught them just how I live my life as a human being and how I treat everybody else, right? That's how I taught it. And it wasn't like I actually gave any lessons. It was how I deal with reality, how I deal with other people. And it doesn't matter, like, if I go dreadied up or whatever, people ask me, like, I'm working with a bunch of Jamaicans, and they ask me, you trying to be Rasta? And it's like, no, I'm not a Rasta, man. I adhere to many of these tenets of Rastafari, but that's not who I am, what I am. But I also, I believe in treating people the way, and I want people to treat me for who and what I am. And I put these, it's not facade, right? I have no false exteriors on me. I am a human being in the purest form as best I can present myself, right? So with the inmates, that's how I treated them as my firefighters, not as inmates. And after I had some serious life issues, I had lost that job. I was driven out by the correction officers who didn't like me because I had such a great rapport with the inmates. And at the same period of time, my girlfriend, who I was getting ready to propose to, had shot herself through the heart. And that was just 2 days after Christmas in the year 2099. And so I was hurting pretty bad when I ran into the inmate crew again. Just my soul was wrecked, right? The thing I went to college for was to run that inmate crew, as far as I was concerned at the time. And then my girlfriend killing herself, and her daughters telling me what she had written in her diary and stuff. It was quite devastating. And so, but with the inmates that I had taken from being dregs of society into being real human beings, we got stuck on top of a mountain. The wind was blowing, and I was running the helicopter ground operation there, loading them on and manifesting them and stuff, doing the weights. And so we got stuck up there, and the correction officer took a walk looking for arrowheads, and 13 of the guys who I had spent 2 years with firefighting sat there and started thanking me and asked me what was wrong and how my life was going. I told them, and one by one, I wrote about this in my book, The Hippie Chronicles. They thanked me for the human being they had become. One says, Alex, when I met you, I weighed 350 pounds, and now I'm 180, lean, mean, working machine. Another one says, I never had self-respect in my life. No one had ever given me respect in my life. No one ever gave me respect in my life, and now I have self-respect, he says. Another one says, I never had a job in my life, and now I have a work ethic, right? And that's how, and it pains me when I try and get people on board with, I'm just being a human being. I'm here and I'm doing my thing, and I don't want you taking advantage of me because you think I'm just going to get it done. Or perhaps the perspective is just completely different. 6 is 9, and we're standing on the other side of the line, right? You see a 6, I see a 9. It can be as simple as that, right? Where we see different things, but through communication is how we find out what we're seeing and where we're not meeting ends. So this one's running a little longer. I wanted to do another 10-minute. We're at 13, 14 minutes. And I hope the people who hear my words understand what it is I have to say. And again, just as I just said, perspectives change. No two people can stand side by side looking at one of my oil paintings and see the same thing because of our entire life's perspective, besides the fact that you're not standing in the exact same point, right? But all of the things that we've experienced before we got to that point to stand next to each other and look at that painting or kitchen or whatever else it is we're looking at and having a discussion with. Our life experiences dictate what our perspective is when we stand there and look at something, right? So someone might see the inside of the fryer as being the priority for cleaning without the understanding that it's already sterile inside the fryer or the pizza oven, whereas the outer surface is covered in grime is what I see. And I don't even see it with my eyes so much as when I touch things, I feel it, right? And I feel the grossness. So appreciate y'all. Thanks for joining, listening in. And I just need to do more content on here, all sorts of stuff. And I think I'm going to do that. I might be doing a full series on kitchen stuff. But somehow I always get into philosophy. Appreciate y'all. Go out in the world and make it a better place with the meat suit you was given to do it in. Have a great day. Peace out.